Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. I am Precious Mzea. Sakaleji, the headlines. Seized BOWMAN LUSAMBO'S properties risk being forfeited to the state. LUSAMBO'S condemns UPND for attacking the Director of Public Prosecution. Agricultural students protest demanding employment. In international news, more than 300 killed in South Africa flooding. And in sports, Man City in big trouble despite deserved Champions League win over Atletico. Join me with the details after this commercial. And other main news in detail. 12 Lusaka men, among them 2 Zambia police officers charged with aggravated robbery, have been committed to the High Court for trial. The Director of Public Prosecutions has issued instructions to commit to the High Court Francis Kanyando, a police officer at Matero, Newton Hamukamba, a state police officer, Lusaka Division Homicide Soft Bubala, a businessman, among others for 5 counts of aggravated robbery charges. Thursday, the 12 appeared before Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Dominic Makalachi for an explanation of the charges.
Tight security surrounded by C5 officers, all the 12 men accused of aggravated robbery have been squeezed in this small van. Accused, among them 2 police officers, are facing 5 counts of aggravated robbery charges involving over 1 million kwacha. Francis Kayondo, a police officer at Matera Police Station, 33-year-old Newton Hamkamba, a state police officer at the Lusaka Division Homicide, 25-year-old Derek Chansa, a driver, 62-year-old Soft Mobala, a businessman, 48-year-old James Mutenga, an electrician, from Chingola, 52-year-old Frank Mukua, a farmer, among others. Yesterday, the 13th of April 2022, only 8 appeared before Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Dominic Makalicha, a situation which made the Lusaka Magistrate Court to adjourn the case to today, so as to allow other accused persons to be brought before court for explanation of the charge and possible committal. Given the fact that the alleged offense is only tried by the High Court, the 12 were Thursday morning all committed to the Lusaka High Court for trial, following a certificate of committal from the Director of Public Prosecutions. Allegations before court allege that in October 2021, the 12, whilst armed with AK-47, stole a 1-pallet gun worth 1,000 kwacha, a safe worth $5,000, and $1,720 cash, the property of Tractor ZAM Limited. It is also alleged that at the time the offense was committed, the accused used violence on the victim, Tito Mandela. In the other count before court, allegations indicate that the accused on the 8th of November 2021, whilst armed with a non-firearms, stole 40,000 kwacha cash, $300 cash, 50 Malawan, a shotgun, cane arms, 12 caliber valued at 15,000 kwacha, and 2 Samsung A10 cell phones, among other goods. They are expected to appear before the High Court soon. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
A 15-year-old girl of Lusaka's George Township has testified before the magistrate court how she was allegedly drugged and later defiled by a 30-year-old man of the same area. This is in a matter in which Vincent Mlenga, a businessman, is charged with abducting 4 girls aged between 12 and 17, indecent assault on females, defilement, and assault occasioning actual bodily harm. When the matter came up for continued trial before Lusaka magistrate Tandosa Chavala, the victim narrated how the accused would also force her to have sexual intercourse with other men in exchange for money.
At only 15, she's a victim of defilement. More ways was forced into prostitution business by 30-year-old Vincent Mulinga from Lusaka's George compound. The man she also claims to have allegedly defiled her. Total silence and shock is what characterized the Lusaka's magistrate court when this 15-year-old girl of Lusaka's George Township, who is now in the custody of a named orphanage, testified how she was physically and sexually abused on several occasions by the accused and ordered to sleep with different men in the street of Matero compound. This is in a matter in which Vincent Mulinga has been slapped with 1 count of abducting 4 girls aged between 12 and 17, 1 count of indecent assault on females, defilement and assault occasioning actual bodily harm. When the matter came up for trial before Lusaka magistrate Tandosa Chavala, the victim testified that sometime back in November 2021, the 30-year-old accused told her not to go back home after she went to see one of her friends at his bar as he wanted to use her and would give her money in return. The state witness further told Magistrate Chavala that when she refused, Mulinga persuaded her into drinking a local beer, which she identified as Lusaka, but had added some drugs. She testified that after falling unconscious, the accused took advantage, and from that day he forbid her from going back to her parents, a situation that now saw her being taken to the street of Matero and having sexual intercourse with different men at lodges in exchange for money. In her concluding testimony, she said the situation continued for almost 2 months, and she could use the same money she made with her friend to pay for rentals and the rest give Vincent Mlenga, the alleged defiler. The matter comes up on the 16th of May 2022 for continued trial. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Over 100 agricultural students and graduates have also joined the bandwagon of graduates calling for government recruitment. Thursday, 14th April 2022, the students staged a peaceful protest from Lusaka's Central Business District to the Ministry of Agriculture head office. But their protest was in futility as authorities were not present to address them.
Viva! Viva! Everybody's easy! Everybody's easy!
They cry foul, taking it to the streets, demanding employment in the civil service. Over 100 agriculture students and graduates Thursday staged a peaceful protest demanding recruitment from the Ministries of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries. On behalf of protesters, Dalisani Ngulube says no one among them and those who graduated before them have seen employment by government for the past 10 years.
The reason we are here is that we have been neglected a lot. Yes. We are agricultural graduates and we are important in the food security of the nation, but we were last recruited 10 years ago. Zambia Mudinsala, and we are the key. We have done our studies. It's not that the government, it is a responsibility for the government to give us jobs, but we are important. If you recruit a teacher, recruit an extension officer.
They marched their way to Lusaka's Mlongoshi house, seeking audience by Minister in charge of Agriculture, Mr. Ruben Mutolo, who was reported not being present in the office by many in uniform.
You are making noise. If you've got a leader, one of you can go to the HR or any other officers. So as for now, if you can disperse.
Gone to the Central Police, requested for a payment, of which we did. So this time around, we were like, okay, let's go that side. Whereas the person that is talking to the police is going to find us here. But actually, the PS and the minister is aware that we are coming here.
However, some spotted group members were summoned by police service at Lusaka Central Police.
So when we hear everything, then we'll come out. But I won't complain about anything. They haven't brutalized us. We are okay. So we just want to hear what they say. Then I'll give feedback. So what's happening is that we're supposed to have a peaceful walk from curfew roundabout to the office of the minister, so that we say our grievances and we.
So today, just in the morning, I was called from the Central Police. When from the Central Police there, when I reached surprise, I was told like, you can't go ahead. We as the police, we advise you first to consult from the minister and the permanent secretary.
But to these graduates, employment is what they seek from government, stating they are as important as other sectors such as the education and health, who are currently undergoing a recruitment process.
There's been an ongoing recruitment for the nurses and for the teachers. And we want to be heard because we believe every course is important and is vital.
Sector. We're asking and pleading for the government that they should look on us so that we can also benefit as like how others are benefiting.
Please, Mr. President, please, Babali, Tilangane Nkoni.
You are busy complaining about the economy. If you employ the agriculture graduates, then you have employed the nation. Please, 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 help us. Employ us. Why you employ us? Then you are safe.
Alex Shimba, Camnet News, in Lusaka.
The Anti-Corruption Commission SEC has seized properties worth over 22 million kwacha belonging to former Lusaka Province Minister BOWMAN LUSAMBO, property suspected to be proceeds of crime. The SEC spokesperson Queen Chiwe says all seized properties are located in Lusaka's Chamba Valley area. She has told the press that the said properties were acquired and constructed by Mr. LUSAMBO using suspected proceeds of crime, and the Commission believes that the properties are still registered in another person's name. LUSAMBO was recently arrested by the Commission for being in possession of properties suspected to be proceeds of crime worth 378,000 United States dollars.
In the build-up to the August 12, 2021 general election in Batod Kabushi constituency, lawmaker BOWMAN LUSAMBO was among those with the perception that Hakainde Hichilema will never govern this country. The lawmaker went to the extent of betting his house over Mr. Hichilema becoming a president of Zambia. Although President Hichilema could not personally get Mr. LUSAMBO'S house after his victory, the Anti-Corruption Commission has grabbed it along with properties worth 22 million kwacha. The anti-corruption body invoked Article 58(1) of the Anti-Corruption Commission Act No. 3 of 2012 to undertake the seizure. According to SEC spokesperson Queen Chiwe, the seized properties were acquired and constructed by Mr. LUSAMBO using suspected proceeds of crime, and the Commission reasonably believes and suspects that the properties are still registered in another person's name.
Okay, we are here simply because the Anti-Corruption Commission has actually seized 8 pieces of properties that belong to former Lusaka Province Minister, Mr. BOWMAN LUSAMBO, and of the 8, we also is included is a subdivision of a farm. All these are properties that are suspected to be proceeds of crime. They have been under investigation, and so the Commission reasonably believe that they were acquired using proceeds of crime, and they were built using proceeds of crime, and so as a Commission, using Section 58 of the Anti-Corruption Act, No. 3 of 2012, we have seized these properties. Yes, the tenants will be asked to leave because we have seized the property. So it now belongs to the state at this particular stage, of course in the process of seizure, not yet forfeited. But the tenants cannot be allowed to stay in them. There will be another notice using the law that will be served on them so that they can vacate the premises.
Mr. LUSAMBO has several court cases to attend to on his calendar, and one of them being the case slated for 17th May 2022, where the former Lusaka province minister and his wife are facing 10 counts of possession of property suspected to be proceeds of crime, conspiracy to defraud, and tax evasion. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Law Association of Zambia, LSZ, has condemned demands by senior officials and cadres of the ruling United Party for National Development, who earlier gave a 48 hours ultimatum for the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP Lillian Suyuni, to resign. In a statement availed to Camnet News Thursday, LSZ Honorary Secretary Sokwani Chilembo says the rule of law demands observance of the law in the conduct of public affairs by everyone, by which the ruling party is no exemption. Mr. Chilembo explains that the DPP is a constitution office holder whose tenure is guaranteed up to retirement age of 60 years by the provision of Article 182 of the Constitution Amendment Act of 2016. He says according to the law, unless she resigns out of her own volition or is removed in line with the provision of Article 144 of the Constitution demanding her to resign is not valid. LAS has since written to the Secretary General of the UPND expressing its concern over the matter and calling on him to immediately address the situation within his ranks in order to prevent the breakdown of the rule of law. On 13th April 2022, some UPND officials and cadres gave the DPP Ms. Lillian Suyuni a 48 hours ultimatum to resign from her position, failure to which protests were threatened. In other news, Munali constituency Member of Parliament Mike Mposha has expressed disappointment that first cholera case post of the 2017-2018 outbreak had to be recorded in his constituency. Mr. Mposha, who is also Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, says he has taken it personal to ensure that the area has clean, safe drinking water, which is key in preventing diseases like cholera. Meanwhile, some concerned Chainda residents within Munali constituency bemoaned the continued erratic supply of water in the area, demanding for a long-lasting solution.
The water crisis has been for a longest period of time a major issue in Lusaka's Munali constituency. Some residents have continued to add this to a list of challenges the constituency is facing in compounds such as Mtendere, Helenkaunda and Chainde compound.
We have suffered for many years. We had no water for many years. We could only draw water maybe once a week, and that would be around 24 hours, 02 hours, just once a week.
On 11th of April 2022, Health Minister Sylvia Masebo revealed the first cholera case to be recorded in Lusaka's Mtendere township in a 3-ward girl. This revelation has worried the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, Mike Mposha, who is also Member of Parliament for Munali constituency, which houses Mtendere compound. The minister expresses disappointment in an interview with Camnet News.
Obviously, it makes me feel very bad. Like you said, I think all these years we've been experiencing cholera. We've been talking about Kanyama, Mrs. Compound, Maziopa, because of obviously people depending so much on shallow wells as their source of water. But for Munali, really, it's very strange and it makes us feel very bad, but it's something that we are making a follow-up to really understand what could have happened. Because you see, it's happening at a time when we have increased the supply of clean water by Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company. I was just explaining to the issue of the project, the Kafue Bulk Water Project, a $150 million project, which we have just completed and is just awaiting commissioning. As I speak to you, we are doing the pressure testing, and as we go into Kalingalinga, I'll be going into Kalingalinga now. Tomorrow I'm in Mtendere itself. When you ask the people, the water supply has improved. Charleston, most parts of Charleston didn't have water for many years. As we speak now, people are smiling because...
He has since cautioned the residents to take strict measures in protecting themselves from a possible outbreak.
To alert the people that it has happened. We have one case which has come from Mtendere community within our constituency. So this thing is within us, within our community. So it's important that we avoid to use water which is suspected to be compromised in terms of quality. Let's depend on, very clear sources of water where we can. Mtendere East, which, as you know, is actually an unplanned settlement. We've moved in, and right now we've launched a project where people are asked to pay 175 kwacha to be connected to the network.
It goes without saying, lack of access to clean water and poor sanitation have a direct link to transmission of diseases such as cholera, diarrhea, and dysentery, among others. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, in Lusaka.
The Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company has underscored that the sanitation component within its mandate is the challenge the firm wants to address to improve the livelihoods of the people in the capacity. The water utility company is implementing the Lusaka Sanitation Program, which aims at improving sanitation services in Lusaka and strengthen Lusaka Water and Sewerage Company's capacity to manage sanitation services, especially the urban poor, by tackling on-site sanitation to cover non-sewered communities of Lusaka. Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company Managing Director Jonathan Kampata is confident that the research project undertaken on sanitation will help provide solution locally and beyond.
While some progress may have been achieved on the side of water, sanitation remains a matter of concern on the other side. The Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company is implementing the Lusaka Sanitation Program, which aims at improving sanitation services in Lusaka and strengthening the Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company's capacity to manage sanitation services. The project aims at increasing access to sustainable sanitation services, especially in urban poor, by tackling on-site sanitation and cover 9 sewered communities of Lusaka. The Lusaka Sanitation Program awarded 9 grantees funding for innovative projects through the Innovative Grant Program, which has reached its completion, and researchers presented their research findings. Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company Managing Director Jonathan Kampata is happy that the project will help find solutions to the many challenges in the sanitation sector.
In total, under this initial program, we have spent $45,000 United States dollars for these grantees to do their research. And we look forward to scaling up this research, because we don't want them to end just as a research. We want to see them applied in the practice, not only in Zambia, but we are confident that since at the moment we are one of the leading utilities when it comes to non-sewered sanitation, not only in Zambia, but in Africa, that these innovations will see the field practice, not only in Zambia, but also beyond. And that will be taken up even by the private sector.
Lusaka Sanitation Program Project Support Officer Kapanda says the project is vital towards responding to the sanitation challenge.
This initiative was that we wanted to make people think and come up with other innovative solutions that are homegrown, like homegrown solutions that will be able to contribute to solving the sanitation challenges that the city is facing. So in the long term, what we intend to see basically is just to make sure that all the residents in the city of Lusaka should have access to safely managed sanitation services that will bring about environmental protection, as well as promote good health living among the people in the communities. Because we appreciate that the biggest chunk of the population in the city is actually relying on sanitation. So if we are to cover everyone and make sure that the city is safe, we need to make sure that we intervene in that area.
Meanwhile, various researchers presented solutions based on their findings on how to better manage on-site sanitation, which presents itself as a challenge to the water utility.
The project's main aim was obviously to increase the treatment capacity of the treatment capacity of the existing treatment plants by introducing the drying beds in the existing treatment plants.
In the survey, the respondents were both male and female, but it separates. There's a question that separates the male and the female. So we could look at that and maybe just see what fraction of the respondents were female. But it wasn't exclusively female. There's a fraction of the respondents that were male. There's a fraction that were women.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more after this.
Savenda. Save nations, develop Africa. Connecting African countries to each other and connecting the African continent to the world. This logistics and global supply chain management group offers end-to-end solutions across all sectors of the economy: agriculture, energy, telecommunications, finance, construction, transportation, and insurance. And now, its initiatives are greener than ever, operating in line with government guidelines and working to provide energy security for Zambia and beyond. 25 companies united under one group and one vision. Savenda. Trade and logistics made easy.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the... She has so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow! Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the rest of the news. Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, Charles Milupi, has called for the American investors to be involved in Zambia's ambitious plan for infrastructure's development by investing in this sector. Speaking during the official opening of a meeting with the American Embassy Thursday, Mr. Milupi said the UPND administration has particular interest in infrastructure such as air travel, as this will in return support the tourism sector. Meanwhile, United States of America Charge d'Affaires Mr. Martin Dell says the U.S. considers Zambia as a strong development partner and will continue this relation even in the new administration.
Infrastructure plays a key role in any country's economy as it connects supply chains by efficiently transporting goods and services. In this regard, countries that have invested heavily in infrastructure in turn witness a higher growth rate and productivity. The case of Zambia is, however, different, as infrastructure development such as roads seems to be centered in Lusaka City and the Copper Belt province, leaving other areas lagging behind. Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Road Development, Mr. Charles Milupi, however, says it is the goal of the United Party for National Development UPND administration to change this narrative. Speaking during the official opening of a meeting with the United States Embassy, Mr. Milupi says the country is especially interested in air travel infrastructure to attract tourism, as well as roads, bridges, hospitals, and education facilities. It is in this vein that he has called for investment in these areas from the American business community.
As a ministry, we can also cite the appropriate project as one of the areas of infrastructure programs being implemented with the support of the government. On our side, as a result of the tight fiscal position the new Dawn administration has been navigating, and also the need for the country to position itself on a fast economic growth trajectory supported by well thought out infrastructure development. The government of the Republic of Zambia has embarked on a program for aggressively pursuing public-private partnerships financing model and commercially viable infrastructure projects.
In response to the cause, U.S. Chargé d'Affaires Mr. Martindale says the American government stands ready to continue strong partnerships with the government, even in the new administration.
The United States wants to become Zambia's partner of choice in developing a robust and thriving private sector that grows jobs and brings shared prosperity to both our countries. And lastly, infrastructure is key to supporting that growth, and we would like to deepen our cooperation so that we can support the Hichilema administration's desire to secure public-private partnerships. U.S. health assistance, as you referred to earlier, has saved millions of lives by providing essential medicines and support for medical professionals throughout the HIV pandemic. The U.S. President's emergency plan for AIDS relief annually invests $400 million plus in Zambia for a cumulative sum of $5.9 billion since 2004. A truly extraordinary figure that has genuinely changed lives in Zambia.
The meeting is aimed at discussing areas of mutual interest for both the Zambian and American governments. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A financial analyst, Mwapem Sonda, has challenged the United Party for National Development administration to reveal its backup plan for the economic recovery should the International Monetary IMF bailout plan fail to work. In an interview, Mr. Msonda says it is not uncommon for such funding agreements to be cancelled should some conditions fail to be met, hence the need for government to communicate what alternative sources of funding it will explore should that happen. The UPND administration has embarked on an economic plan to revamp the country's economy, with the IMF bailout package being one of the main sources of funding.
We are all aware that there is a very bad war that is happening in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia, and the indicators coming out of that show that it is possible that the IMF may not actually actualize the package for Zambia, the bailout package for Zambia. So what are we going to do to finance the budget? Because we saw that the budget, a large share portion of the budget is banked on being financed by the bailout package from IMF. So what is going to happen? What is the alternative that we are going to have should the IMF decide not to give us the package as it were? So we are calling on the minister to put together his team so that they can start looking at the alternatives.
United Party for National Development candidate in the Mongo mayoral by-election, Muyumbana Nyambe, says he will focus on inclusive development in the district should he be elected mayor. Speaking after casting his vote at the minister's conference polling station Thursday, Mr. Nyambe has also expressed confidence in scooping the seat, stating that people still have confidence in the UPND administration, mainly owing to the decentralization of the constituency Development Fund. The seat is being contested by the UPND, Patriotic Front and Party for National Progress and Unity, following the demise of the UPND mayor Nyambe Matakala in a road accident recently.
All has been said and done to convince electorates by the three political parties currently competing in the Mongo mayoral by-elections. With poll day, which was slated for 14th April 2022 having arrived, candidates can only wait and hope that their message was received by electorates. Polls for the elections, which opened at exactly 6 hours, have however seen a very poor turnout, a happening which some stakeholders have attributed to alleged poor voter sensitization. For United Party for National Development UPND candidate Mr. Muyumbana Nyambe, all hope is not lost, as he says he is confident of scooping the seat. Mr. Nyambe says should he win, his agenda will be inclusive development.
It's been peaceful. We've been interacting with our colleagues. We've never had any pockets of violence. We've been preaching the message of development. As you are aware that the UPND has been in government for 7 months, and so far so good. The first thing that is done now, you know that the new Dawn government is taking the decentralization policy very seriously. And that's why you've seen that there's an increase in the CDF allocation. The 5.3 million for Mungu district, for Mungu constituents, and another 5.3 for Nalikwanda are already in the accounts for Mungu district. So I think that's the first thing that we're tackling, that is in terms of ensuring that the women, the youths, those that are supposed to benefit from the money are given the money.
Meanwhile, party campaign manager Mr. Austin Muneku has also added his voice.
We are certain of victory. I think we've done enough. We've campaigned in all the places we've campaigned. The support from our people is still there, and that gives us the confidence that we are definitely carrying the day today as the polls close. We are very, very certain of victory.
The seat is being contested by the UPND, the Patriotic Front PF, and the Party for National Progress and Unity PNUP. The by-elections have come about following the demise of UPND Mayor Mr. Nyambe Matakala in a road accident in February 2022. Voting was still ongoing by broadcast time. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News.
Former cabinet minister in the United National Independence Party UNIP government Peter Chanshi has died. Mr. Chanshi died in Lusaka yesterday after an illness. Acting Secretary to the Cabinet, Patrick Kangwa, disclosed that the late Mr. Chanshi served in the administration of the first President Kenneth Kaunda and as Minister of Works and Supply in 1991. Mr. Kangwa said in a statement issued to Zanis in Lusaka that the late Mr. Chanshi also served in other portfolios as a Minister of State for Health and Minister of State for Mines between 1983 and 1990. He said the late Chanshi was the chief spokesperson for His Royal Highness Mwata Kazembe of the Lunda people of Luapula Province. Mr. Kangwa stated that the government will release a detailed burial program for the late Mr. Chanshi in due course. We'll take our second set of commercials. Coming next is sports and international news.
We welcome you to the wonderful world of Savenda Electronics.
At Savenda Electronics, we pride ourselves in manufacturing high-quality electricity and water meters.
Boasting of the first of its kind state-of-the-art manufacturing plant in Zambia, Savenda Electronics manufactures customized smart electricity and water meters of international standards for both the local and international water and electricity utility companies. Our highly computerized factory, run by qualified staff, makes, calibrates, and electronically tests the smart meters to ensure only those meeting customer specifications are delivered to the market. Some of the main features which come with our meters includes notifications about low units, tempering, low battery, and many more customized features. Savenda Electronics provides on and off-site after-sales service and has favorable contract terms for water and electricity utility companies. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes, and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Welcome back. Now getting into our international news. Severe flooding in South Africa this week has killed more than 300 people and caused widespread destruction. Volunteers are still searching for those missing, with more rain as predicted. In other news, President Vladimir Putin has said Russia's military action in Ukraine was unavoidable and pledged that its goal in the conflict will be achieved. His comments on Tuesday came after he flew into Russia's Far East Alma region, where he met Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko. The visit marked Putin's first non-trip outside Moscow since Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24th, sending tens of thousands of troops into the neighboring country. Putin and Lukashenko visited the Vostok Cosmodrome to mark Russia's annual Cosmonautical Day, commemorating the first crewed space flight made in 1961 by the Russian-Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin. More on international news.
What happened to our family is devastating. I've lost 2 of my daughters. My other daughter and wife are in hospital.
I hear like a thunderstorm. Thereafter, I hear the sound, the wall is falling under me. Then I shout.
No inner space. This community hall is too small for them, but because they got no option, other option.
I can't even rebuild my house because when the water, then that river is going big. Now there's no space for me to rebuild.
Around 100 residents of Bambayi Township in South Africa's eastern city of Durban took to the streets to protest against being removed from a temporary shelter after their homes were destroyed in floods. Demonstrators blocked the streets of rubble, burning tyres and barricades. They called for the city authorities to repair damaged infrastructure that left them without running water or power for days. The residents of the informal settlements around the M19 near Reservoir Hills had been removed from a school acting as a temporary shelter and were due to be housed in a nearby community hall. The protesters are demanding that alternative housing be provided. The demonstrations have spread to communities north of Durban, who are calling for the municipality to speed up the restoration of services and provide housing. Flooding in the Durban area has taken over 300 lives and has been described as a catastrophe of enormous proportions by President Cyril Ramaphosa. Thousands of people have been made homeless, roads and bridges swept away, and at least 248 schools have been damaged. The government has declared a state of disaster in the region and pledged relief to those affected.
A day to celebrate past Russian successes with old allies. President Vladimir Putin arrived at the Vostok Cosmodrome in Russia's Far East with Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko to mark 61 years since one of the biggest achievements in Russia's history. April 12, 1961, Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first man in space. A clearly happy memory for the president, who says he still remembers that day as a 9-year-old boy. But the ongoing conflict with Ukraine is still at the top of the agenda for President Putin.
Unfortunately, Ukraine was created as some kind of launch pad for aggression against Russia, and the offshoots of nationalism were totally cherished. This new generation of Ukrainian nationalists are especially clashing with Russia. You see how Nazi ideology became a fact of life in Ukraine. It was unavoidable. We are taking steps to provide security for Russia. We didn't have any other choice. We did the right thing, and I have no doubt that our aims will be achieved.
Russia's so-called special military operation is now in its second phase, which officials say will focus on the Donbass region of Ukraine. Vladimir Putin also praised Russian troops for what he calls efficiently, courageously, and competently carrying out their operation. That operation was a topic of discussions between the Russian president and his Belarusian counterpart. Belarus has hosted Russian troops since earlier this year, and the Kiev government accused Minsk of allowing their borders to be used by Russian troops to enter Ukraine. Despite the criticism from the West, President Lukashenko's support for Vladimir Putin continues to be unwavering. Prior to their meeting, Lukashenko vowed Belarus will always be by Russia's side. The two presidents emerged from their discussions with renewed determination to consolidate their unity, which will include closer military ties.
We discussed in detail important issues including political, diplomatic, economic and of course military and defense. Our modern history hasn't seen yet such dangerous and complicated moments in our relationship with the West.
Putin also praised Lukashenko's role in starting the negotiations between Moscow and Kiev, which are still ongoing. But the Russian president admitted that they have now reached a deadlock. Those talks between Russian and Ukrainian officials began just a few days after Russia's military operation, but there were never any high hopes that they would bring an end to the fighting anytime soon. Now, Vladimir Putin has confirmed what many feared, that this conflict will only end once Russia achieves its objectives, regardless of how long it takes and at what cost. Dorsa Jabari, Al Jazeera, Moscow.
We'll now get into our sports item. Manchester City's superb Champions League victory over Atletico Madrid could have come at a cost, with Pep Guardiola's admitting his side are in big trouble as a result of injuries picked up in the Spanish capital. Both Kevin De Bruyne and Kyle Walker were forced off a City staged a defiant defensive display to claim a 0-0 draw at the Wanda Metropolitano, securing a 1-0 aggregated win. Guardiola did not reveal the extent of the injuries but was clearly concerned with Saturday's FA Cup semi-final against Liverpool to follow. The Reds made 7 changes from Sunday's high-intensity 2-2 Premier League draw at City as Jurgen Klopp rested a number of key players in their Champions League last 8 tie with Benfica on Wednesday. But Guardiola made just 2 for the tough test against the Spanish champions. Wednesday's second leg in Madrid was a bruising encounter all round for City, who had to contend with an Atletico side showing far greater ambition than in a first leg where they failed to have a single effort at goal. Diego Simeone said were also extremely physical, allowing this to spill over into ill-discipline, led on with Philippe Singh red for a dangerous follow-through on Phil Foden, having earned his first yellow card for an elbow to the same player that drew blood. Meanwhile, Young Zanaco proved to be a tougher side in a friendly match played against Camnet Stars and the 19 Division 1 teams respectively. The game in between the under-19s ended 1-0 in favor of Young Zanaco, while the senior Camnet squad lost by 2-0. Young Zanaco is on 3rd position in the 1st Division 1 Lusaka Province log. The Camnet technical bench says it is using the friendly games to sharpen the team ahead of future matches.
Break it. We had a very good friendly game with the young Zanaco under 19 and the Zanaco who are in the first Division 1. And the outcome is fantastic, especially from our under 19 football team. They were playing very well. They are coordinating very well. I think the senior coach and the technical, they are all happy about their performance. We lost 1-0 despite playing that beautiful game. When we came to the under 23, which is our Division 1, which we are constructing, I think they are also coming up. They have played their first friendly game. They have lost 2-0 to Zanaco, who are number 3 on the log in Division 1. And I think this is a good sign that the boys are winning and they are moving in the right direction. And I think we are getting there. This is fantastic, and we are going to continue having this friendly game so that we can be able to expose our players so that they are able to move to the higher level.
I think they have a good side, good young players. They're coming up well, and we are looking forward in the near future to play another friendly games. They need more friendly games to get gelled. Otherwise, in terms of players, they have talented young ones. I know they are going somewhere. And then the other thing is like we as Zanaco, we are also trying to do the same thing. And we have already started. But in the near future, I think we'll let you know what we want to do. Otherwise, we are working with the experienced coaches better than this.
Well, that sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news, but before we go, here are the headlines once again. Seized BOWMAN LUSAMBO'S properties risk being forfeited to the state. LAS condemns UPND for attacking the Director of Public Prosecution. Agricultural students protest demanding employment. In international news, more than 300 killed in South Africa flooding. And in sports, Man City in big trouble despite deserved Champions League win over Atletico. And our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Matthew 26 verse 38, and it reads, "Then he said to them, my soul is swallowed up in sorrow to the point of death. Remain here and stay awake with me." Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Pleasant viewing.